Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna, welcome to everyone to the Srimad Bhagavatam class. Hari Hari Bol. So we are in the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 26, the wonderful Kṛṣṇa, and we will read the text from 7 to 10. Kvacid dhaiyaṅgava-stainye. Kvacid dhaiyaṅgava-stainye. Mātrā udūkhale. Mātrā udūkhale. Gacchan arjunayor madhye. Gacchan arjunayor madhye. Bāhubhyāṁ tava apātayat. Bāhubhyāṁ tava apātayat. Kvacid dhaiyaṅgava-stainye. Mātrā udūkhale. Gacchan arjunayor madhye. Bāhubhyāṁ tava apātayat. Next, please. Are you all the sloka? All together? Ladies? Kvacit hongs haiyaṅgava butter stainye engaged in stealing mātrā by his mother baddha bound up udūkhale to a large mortar gacchan moving arjunayoḥ the twin arjuna trees madhye between bāhubhyāṁ by his hands to apātayat he made them fall. Translation and purport by the disciple of Srila Prabhupada. Once his mother tied him with ropes to a mortar because she had caught him stealing butter. Then, crawling on his hands, he dragged the mortar between a pair of Arjuna trees and pulled them down. Purport. The two Arjuna trees were old and thick, and they towered above little Kṛṣṇa courtyard. Nevertheless, they were pulled down quite easily by the naughty child. Continue. The text, number 8. Yeah? 7 to 10, yes. Vane sancharanam vatsam saroma balakairitam antukamam bakam durbhyam ukatori apātayat. Another time, when Kṛṣṇa was tending the calves in the forest together with Balaram and the covered boys, the demons Bakasura came with the intention of killing Kṛṣṇa. But Kṛṣṇa seized this inimical demon by the mouth and tore him apart. Text number 9. Vatsasu vatsarupena pravisham tam jigam sayam atvanyapātayatena kapitani chalilaya. Desiring to kill Kṛṣṇa, the demon Vatsa disguised himself as a calf and entered among Kṛṣṇa's calves. But Kṛṣṇa killed the demon and using his body enjoyed the sport of knocking kapita fruits down from the tree. Text number 10. Atvarasaba daiteyam tadba bandung shabalam vita chakretala vanam ksemam paripakshva palam vita. Together with Lord Balaram, Kṛṣṇa killed the jackass demon and all his friends, thereby securing the safety of the Talavan forest, which abounded with fully ripened palm fruit. Purport. Long, long ago, the powerful demons Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha were born of the goddess Diti. Therefore, demons are commonly called Daiteyas or Daityas, meaning descendant of Diti. The Nukasura, the ass demon, terrorized the Tala forest with his friend, but Sri Kṛṣṇa and Sri Balaram killed them just as modern governments kill terrorists who harass innocent people. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyanam Jana Salakaya Chaksurumiritam Gyanatasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manubhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutare Svayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindubhyeva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Sri Kṛṣṇa Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Sivasati Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. First of all, I'd like to offer my respect to all the senior devotees and to all of you. Thank you for being here and to attend the Srimad Bhagavatam class. As we know from Srila Prabhupada, it is very, very important that every morning we listen something from the Shastra. That's really the key way just to have a good day. Have a good sadhana, have a good Srimad Bhagavatam class. So I try to help in this direction. So we have a little overview of what Kṛṣṇa is doing with the demons. No, we have a lot of story. We just had this wonderful story about Govardhan Hill that he lifts, no, Kṛṣṇa. And it's interesting to see because I know that you have been a lot of deepening, a lot of explanation about this pastime. But just one consideration. Because if you look from the technical point of view, this pastime, they just passed, to lift a hill is quite impossible. No? If you take 1 kilo, not 1 hill, 1 kilogram, and we put on one finger, let's try how long we can resist. I can stay maybe 2 minutes. Someone can stay 1 hour. Maybe someone stay a few hours because it's very strong. But nobody can resist longer. So technically it's impossible. So people, when they listen something like that, no, the Lord lifted the hill. He's doing something very wonderful. He's unimaginable. He's not human. Okay, so this should be God. So we can recognize Kṛṣṇa because he's God, because he's doing this kind of pastime, because he was a little kid of 7 years old and he lifted the Govardhan Hill. If he was 37 years old, was more easy? No, it's exactly the same problem. He's not human, this. So the people, they can be very impressed about that. Say, oh, he did something that is unexpected. Nobody can think about that. If you look at that from another point of view, from the yogi aspect, you know, yogi, they have a lot of power. And the bigger power that the yogi is to create a planet. Wow. So we know also that Karlama Muni created a city, a huge city, and let them fly all over the universe. He can do whatever he wants. He created, city, house, everything there, no? So it seems that Kṛṣṇa did something less than Kardama Muni, because he just left the hill. Oh. Or maybe some other yogi can create a planet. So with Kṛṣṇa, is Kṛṣṇa is the one who left the hill, or the other one who created a planet? So sometimes people, they can get confused about that. So it's not that Kṛṣṇa did something very, very powerful, very incredible, because he's lifted the hill. From the technical materialistic point of view, he did something that nobody can do. But from the yogi point of view, he did something that can be, someone can do even more than him. But this was not the point. The point that was that when Lord Indra, he became disappointed because, he was seeing that Kṛṣṇa was a worshipper, the people that were follow him. They, we know the story. They start to throw all the rain and the floating and this. And the inhabitants of Vrindavan, they naturally take shelter in a little kids of a few years old. That's amazing, because if something happens, it's like a disaster. What the people normally they do? They try to control everything. They try to avoid. They put something to stop what is going. And they will not take shelter in the kids. They will take shelter maybe in a general, or someone is able to guide all the situation. They was taking shelter in the kids. No worry. And when he lifted up, everyone naturally he went down, because they love him. And the Kṛṣṇa, they protect him by love. So what is really lifting the Govardhan hill was the love. That's the real things. And you see also we have a lot of painting now that they are showing the Gopa, they bringing some stick and putting under the hill. Again, is totally irrational. Maybe when the hill will, the weight of the hill will be, I don't know, many billion of tons, of kilo, and they just try to put the skill, say, okay, we can do something like, we can help Kṛṣṇa. And we know that, they were going to Kṛṣṇa, they start to massage his arm. Are you feel tired? No? This, again, is totally irrational, these things. But, they love him so much, and the love was permeating everything. It was lifting the hill, keeping lifting the hill all the time. Also then one Gopa go to Kṛṣṇa and say, are you tired? He says, maybe a little. So, can you carry for a moment the hill? You say, okay, take. You don't mind about that. It's just Kṛṣṇa give an order and he continue. So that's the magic things that happen in all this pastime. Is the love. The love is the key point. It's not exactly what Kṛṣṇa can do because he was young, because Kṛṣṇa is God. He can manifest himself as a young man, as an old man. He can do whatever he wants. But the love is the key. So when we try to explain this pastime, maybe say in India can be more easy, because the people they know since where they born. But when you try to explain this kind of pastime to the people from the outside world, it becomes difficult. Because they think immediately about mythology. They think, okay, we have our story. I'm coming from Italy, so we have the influence of the Roman Empire, we have the Greece, we have all the story about that. We have their mythology. You go in India, they have other mythology. Because what they say that is not human, so they are just thinking, They are projecting their mind, and they create some idols, some deva or whatever you want to call. So this something very pleasant story. Sometimes, people, they say, okay, we have a pleasant story from the Greece, we have a pleasant story from India. That's nice, they're very nice. We have a mayor of our place where we stay, that now I think this guy is like 35 or 40 years old. He grew up, and the devotees were already there. And when he was very young, he was listening in a disc, the story of Kṛṣṇa, because we were producing that time. And we grow. He told me, I grew up, I was listening Kṛṣṇa, the wonderful guys, and you know all the story. So you're the mayor, it's not a devotee, you know all the story. They say, this story was so pleasant. My mother was putting when it was time to go to bed, and was listening Kṛṣṇa, Kṛṣṇa, Kṛṣṇa. I say, okay, what you think about? Say, that's wonderful story from the pastime. Like between mythology, but still he appreciate. And I thought, maybe, you see, you appreciate Kṛṣṇa, you are mayor now. Because Kṛṣṇa, he gives some prize to you. This is one way to understand. And very superficial, but people, they start to appreciate. But we know that in any pastime of Lord Kṛṣṇa, there is a philosophical meaning also. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he helped a lot of us explaining behind any pastime, any lila that Kṛṣṇa performed, there is some very, very important meaning. So the scholar, the people, they like to study, they like the philosophy, they like to go into that. They say, okay, that's mythology, but, there is also some teaching that we can take. We can add in our life. So, and the people, they like to have a discussion about that. I'm not talking about devotees, specific about devotees, but I think that there are many scholars in the world that they like even to read the Bhagavatam, they like to read the Bhagavad-Gita. I know in my country, not in India, I know in my country that some professor, they know Sanskrit, they are teaching Sanskrit, because still in our country in the world, Sanskrit is taught. Not so many students, but they have. At least I remember in our country, at least we have 4 universities. They have the Sanskrit department. And they know the teacher, they are teaching Indology. And they know many sloka. They memorize many sloka by the Bhagavad-Gita and by the Bhagavatam. But what is interesting when you discuss with them, they consider only by the philosophical point of view, by the academic point of view. Something is missed. No? They got the teaching, maybe what they understand. They got the teaching. They got from the Bhagavad-Gita. They consider something that is culturally relevant. They can give some ethics, some moral advice, and they even, they are applying in their life something like that. I know some people that they are reading in some way the Bhagavad-Gita, and they try to extract the concept from what I understand and just to apply in the daily business or in whatever they are doing. But when you come to the platform of love, something is missed, because they want to consider everything from the rational point of view. That can be very dangerous, because you remain on the level to listen a pleasant story or to understand some philosophical meaning, but you miss the essence. Because the devotee, when they listen the story of Kṛṣṇa, they know that they are pleasant the story, they have a philosophical meaning, and they like to hear more and more and more, because they understand that Kṛṣṇa is a real person. He performed this pastime. And the way that you can understand it is through love. Is the only way. And from the academic point of view, this part is missing. So we know that Srila Prabhupada told us that we have to be very serious in our life, study. He was encouraging the devotee not only to distribute in books, but also to read the books. And encourage everyone to read at least 1 hour a day. This was in the past. Nowadays sometimes it can be more difficult, especially for the grihasta, someone who is involved in the life, in the modern world, the so-called modern world. But he underlined the importance of the study. Let's understand. Just don't be only to the emotional aspect. Go deep, study, understand what is the meaning, which is the philosophy. At the same time, we know that even Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj, that was one of the most important and wonderful scholars that we have in our sampradaya, that he was warning sometime. He said, too much jnana, it can take down bhakti. Be careful about that. So try to find the right balance. Because I know more than one devotee, they become too much into the jnana and they forget the bhakti. Because the meaning of the bhakti, the jnana, is to understand and to serve the Lord. Because if you don't serve the Lord, you can stay on the platform or the jnana. You want to rationalize everything. And something that, Kṛṣṇa is not possible to understand by the logic. Because you can understand Kṛṣṇa till a certain level. You can understand, you can realize Brahman, you can realize a lot of other things, but you cannot enter really in the understanding of the pastime. We know that. But most of the people, most of the religion, they don't know that. That's because I am doing a lot of interfaith dialogue, especially in Europe. For them it's very difficult to understand. That's because also Prabhupada, he didn't stress too much the point. You didn't see Prabhupada never spoke in a public conference, whatever, about the pastime of Lord Kṛṣṇa. Because you know that the people, they cannot understand this point. They can confuse the things, they can speculate, and also they can consider, who is speaking, someone, little strange person. I want to give an example to you. We have in a big city where I stay in Florence, we have a very active interfaith dialogue, and we used to go once a month in the city hall. They give a huge, and we were staying together, sharing some realization or whatever you want to call, talking about some topics. And once it came there, one guy from the Vaishnava tradition, not from ISKCON, another tradition. Yes, only one in Italy. In all our country, there is only him. No? And he came, and when it's time to talk, he started to speak very deeply pastime between Radharani and the Gopi and Kṛṣṇa. It was really looking at him, what are you doing, and the people immediately become quite disappointed, no? And they come to me, say, you know him? Say, I don't know, maybe no, maybe yes, maybe not. Say, but seems that he's coming close to your tradition. Yes, okay, but many branch, you cannot understand. So don't put me together with him, no? Please. And after 10 years, they stop him because nobody can understand what he say. And one guy, in a very polite way, say, we are not here to talk about mythology, please. Talk about something real in our life. And then after all, he came to me, say, these people, they don't appreciate, they don't love Kṛṣṇa, they will punish him. I say, what? Maybe Kṛṣṇa will punish you, I don't know. Kṛṣṇa will do what you want. But you wrong these topics, you took in the wrong place. Because these people, they are not available to understand. They cannot understand because they don't have the background to understand. They are not practicing bhakti. We are talking to them about deep philosophical aspect of bhakti. But the people, they are not ready to do that. So I say, our founder Prabhupada never did something like that. He was speaking in a very direct way, but appropriate to the different people in a way they can understand. So that's important. We learn about this, and it's not that when you go outside to preach in the world, you are just to tune your speech with the people. It's not that you are watering what you are saying, but just let the people take what they are able to take. And after they can move from one step to the other, Which is the first goal? Someone remember which is the first goal of our movement? Our founder, Srila Prabhupada, makes 7 goals, no? So, which is the first goal? Let the people understand which is the difference between matter and spirit. Very simple, but this is the basis. That's because when you talk with the people and they talk about God, they cannot understand something too deep. They remain in the platform of God is one, very powerful, is the supreme controller. He can judge you, he can prize you, he can punish you according to if you are with him or not with him. Most of the religion, even here in India, they are thinking like that. No, he's looking. What are you doing? Oh, you did something wrong? Psh, go there. If you did something, okay, you can come close to me. This is very superficial aspect. No, superficial relation that we have to God. God, Kṛṣṇa is not even engaged in this kind of activities. He's expanding. Balaram, Gacchan, Pradyumna, Mahavishnu, no? And he's creating and controlling the world by a lot of assistants. No? And when, there are some people, they are really fall in love with him, they are in love with him, he manifests his pastime. So people, they cannot understand this point. They can listen a nice story, they can listen nice understand, nice philosophical meaning, but they cannot enter into this pastime. The only way is just to have the intelligence for Kṛṣṇa. As he said in the Bhagavad-Gita, Tesansata Yuktanam, this famous verse, Bhajatam Priti Purvakam, Radami Buddhi Yogantam Yana Mamupayantivam. To whom is serving me with love and devotion, I give the intelligence. It's the only way. That's also why we're trying to engage in devotional service. Any people, they approach us. Because they don't know. Maybe they think, oh, this man or these ladies, they need some help. And go in the temple, they see, they say, oh, let me help them. It can become useful. Say, thank you for your help, but we are engaging you in devotional service. And through the devotional service, if you do something even very little, Krishna is starting to give you the intelligence to you. And you clean the heart, no? As Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, start to clean your heart. And remember what is the real situation with the real Kṛṣṇa, which is the relation that you have to develop with him. So, and another important point that when Kṛṣṇa came here, you have to remember it was Dvapara Yuga, was another era. And in that era, Kṛṣṇa was manifesting himself. Not everyone was conscious that Kṛṣṇa was God. You have to also consider that. Not that when Kṛṣṇa was in the planet, everyone not Kṛṣṇa was. Very few people. Sandipani Muni, very few others, not so many. But people, they were totally in love for him. Maybe even when he entered in Mathura, you know all the story. When Kamsa entered, Kṛṣṇa entered in Mathura to kill Kamsa, all the people, they was looking on him as a different understanding of him. Someone was falling in love with him, someone considered a great friend, someone would consider the best of the warrior, and so on. Someone is understanding, but all together was tuned with love with Kṛṣṇa. Again, that was the situation. And it was manifested his pastime directly. But we are in Kali Yuga, and Kṛṣṇa, he took another aspect. He came as Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. Except that a very, very specific and rare case, he didn't show such power that Kṛṣṇa did in the past. He didn't start when he was young to kill the demons. He was full of demons, more demons than when Kṛṣṇa was here. He had a lot of opportunity to do that, but he didn't do that. So he put himself in the center? No. Again, he put the holy name in the center. That's interesting, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is God. He can write, dozens, hundreds of books, and he read only the 8 verses, the 8 Shastra that you are chanting. Also in our temple, we are chanting every morning. For the one who is able to understand, in these 8 sloka, everything is there. Nothing is missing. Everything is there. Even when we have the 9 path of self-realization from Shraddha to Prema, is everything, all this path is inside the sloka that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wrote. But what he did, he just, since the beginnings, he tried to involve people. So in a sense, Kṛṣṇa was showing some miracles. Killing the Nukasura with Balaram or whatever it is, Aristasura, Agasura, lifting the Govardhan hill, and whatever it is. He was doing these kind of things. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is involving immediately all the other people. So he just gave the little direction and empowered the others. That's very interesting to understand how he acted. Because someone was expecting that Kṛṣṇa show himself, even in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in something that you cannot understand because he's not human. But he was acting more as a human, But he started a movement, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that is expanding all over the world. So he created a very special miracle because he's not doing that by himself. He's doing by himself, but through the people. We are here because, he spoke with Sanatana Goswami and Rupa Goswami and the Vaishnava. They came in Vrindavan and they discovered Vrindavan. Because who know Vrindavan before? Very few people. Very, very few people. They made famous. Yesterday I was in Radhakunda. We have Radhakunda because of them. Because of Raghunath Goswami. because of the Vaishnava, because of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He gives the direction and they discover everything, rediscover everything. So that's very, very interesting how we act in this way. We have the Vaishnava etiquette. Why don't Chaitanya Mahaprabhu don't write the Vaishnava etiquette? He left other one to write. So how the devotee had to behave and so on. It's just involving everyone. And you know that the devotee in general, maybe there are, of course we can the exception of the Goswami or other devotees, but they are not perfect. But all together, they can reach the goal. And if we see what Srila Prabhupada did, because someone is asked Prabhupada, oh, you are the great yogi, you are great, why you don't show the power? That's another very interesting point. Why Srila Prabhupada don't show the power? See if his direct connection to Krishna, why just don't lift again maybe another small hill or whatever he do just to impress the people? He did something even more bigger. Because even Prabhupada, if he was able to do something like that, he didn't do that. But he just create a condition to all the people work together to create the movement and expand the movement. So when he was in this little shop in the 2nd Avenue we know the story, in the 2nd Avenue in Manhattan, in New York, they was try to open a kind of group society, whatever it is, just to be able to deal with the society. You remember the story, what he was advising him, say, hey, put something, that people they can accept. He said, no, I want to put Krishna consciousness. And we are opening International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Look at, it was 2-3 people, Prabhupada and 2-3 people, And there was I don't know how many of you they have been in this place. It's a little, very in the corner, but nowadays it's very in the corner of Manhattan, this place. Now it's becoming, but it was not really the most safe zone in New York at the time. So 3-4 people all together with no money, with nothing. And the leaders of these 3 people, an old man, say, we are opening the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. You can imagine the lawyer, no? We was trying to take note of this. Okay, a little strange, but no, they have money, you pay, okay, whatever you want. But it was really not a dream. That was the difference. The dream is something that you dream, but you don't know where it's maybe coming, maybe not. You don't know exactly. It was a project of Prabhupada. He was starting a project. Starting a project, the people they start to come to him. That was the miracle. It's the real miracle. And it manifests. We are here in this Krishna Balaram Mandir temple because of the project of Srila Prabhupada. Because when he say we will be everywhere in the world, we will open temple. If you in the 60s, I don't know if there is some devotee that was here when the temple was open, who were thinking, no money, nothing. I was able just to create a situation like that where millions of people are coming every year in this Krishna Balaram Mandir. 60 years ago, nothing was here. It was just flat land, here in this area, nothing. Between here and at the center of Vrindavan was nothing at the time. I still remember in the 80s was really quite empty. The space now is expand everywhere, but this is another topic. This was everything in the mind of Prabhupada. And Prabhupada, he just give the input and all of the people, they stay together and they work together. That's because Prabhupada always say that it is important that the devotee, they keep united. Because together we can do whatever we want, serving Krishna. When we start to quarrel and we do disunite, something we are not more tuned in what you want to do, what Lord Chaitanya want to do, and so on. And he tried to involve all the society, all the people. Which miracle did Prabhupada? This is the main miracle. He did a lot of miracle. And the people sometimes they understand partially, but they understand that they are looking at something that is quite unique. I want to give an example. A few years ago, I could remember, it was like 8 or 9 years ago. Sai Baba, or this yogi, he passed away. And during this day, I was visiting my parents, and I was waiting for lunch, and I heard the TV on. It was the news on the TV, And you know, it was the national television, the most important television. So the spokesman, he started to say, okay, so yesterday left the body this very famous person in the world, and he invite to speak one lady that is internationally known, is a social anthropologist specializing in religion. So I asked her, can you say something about Sai Baba? And you know, she gave like 1 minute, she spoke about Sai Baba. And after that, he looked this man and say, but the real person who make changement in the society, who just let us understand, which is the secret that you know the ancient Vedic culture they have, is Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. You can imagine, I was in the sofa with my parents, waiting for the lunch, looking at this one start to speak about it. So and the spokesman say, who is Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada? She say, the founder of the Hare Krishna movement. So this man say, oh, the Hare Krishna, they are these guys, these you know, people, they are going in the street and chanting, you know, they are dancing, very funny people. And she looked very serious to say, they are very funny, but beyond of this dance and this chanting, there is something more. They are very more deep. And again, she repeat this, you know. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada is the one who really changed the perception, or which will bring something relevant from the ancient culture of India. It was wow, completely shocked, you know, because you cannot imagine. You know, I was just waiting for the lunch for my mother. So I got all these things. After a few months, I was invited in Rome in a congress, and when I read also the other speaker, she was there, this lady. So I managed in a way just to come close to her and sit. And after I say, hey, professor, I have one question for you. So you remember Sai Baba, blah, 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 blah. I say, why you, despite you speak about Sai Baba, you speak about Prabhupada? Nobody was asking nothing about Prabhupada. She say, because this man was asking me, who is bringing, you know, the real culture of the ancient India in Europe? He say, he was not Sai Baba, it was Prabhupada. He was really sincere. He say, wow. So we start to talk. He say, I'm not a devotee, I know, I read the books, I really appreciate. So when we had the 50th anniversary of ISKCON, you know, you remember the feast all over the world, we went in the parliament. So I invite her, and also she gave a speech about that. So there is way to appreciate Prabhupada, what he did. And she went in the books, and when we discuss about the books, you know, for us it's quite normal. We read the Sanskrit. You know, first we have the line of the Sanskrit in the top. I'm not able to read that. Maybe you, some Indian devotee, who some studying Sanskrit, yes. But Prabhupada who did, he was putting the transliteration, he put in the Roman characters that everyone can read. After reading that, he translated word by word. Because, you know, if you are a scholar, you understand in a way that he translate. If you are not a scholar, you start to learn the way they translate. And after he gave the translation, and finally the purport. How many Gita we have in the world? How many Bhagavatam we have? Many Gita, we have many Gita. Most of the Gita, I don't want to enter it, I want to generalize, but most of the Gita is just translation with the opinion of someone. And Kṛṣṇa and Srila Prabhupada made the Bhagavad-Gita as it is. In a way, I give you the instrument just to understand why I'm translating in this way, why I'm giving this kind of purport. Maybe you don't know, but maybe if you study, you can get the skill just to understand what in right. So it's a big bridge. Think about it. It's creating so we are talking about bridge program. This is one of the bigger bridge program that Prabhupada did. Despite to translate directly and without passing all this through, you know, Sanskrit, transliteration, word by word, he can just directly write, you know, the translation with his interpretation. He didn't do like that. This is a very important bridge program that we have to use. So Prabhupada did something like that, and it became understandable even for the scholar, even for the others. And he wrote Bhagavad-Gita as it is. You know, someone, we don't know the story, say, why this man come and say, as it is, he become too proud, say, my Bhagavad-Gita is better than the other. It was not the intention of Prabhupada. They say, mine is the best, and the other one is. As it is, because the Bhagavad-Gita, when you learn, study, and practice Bhagavad-Gita, you transform your heart in love. This is the way. Otherwise, if you don't transform your heart, you develop love for Kṛṣṇa, so the meaning of the Bhagavad-Gita is another direction. That's because we have, I know, during Prabhupada time, it was quoted that was like 700 Bhagavad-Gita or something like that, no? Maybe nowadays we have much more than that. How many of these Bhagavad-Gita are able to transform the heart of the people? I don't say no one, but very little, very, very little. And the key of everything, because we are here, because Prabhupada is attracting devotees and people from all over the world, from different culture completely different. We have devotees from, of course, from India, we have devotees from Europe, we have devotees from America, from South America, from everywhere. How is possible, you know? Because normally the religion, you know, they move, so the religion is one, because it's the concept that I always telling to in the interfaith dialogue. Religion is one, there's not so many religions, it's one religion, it's the bhakti. You can call it another way, but it's the love for God. But because when the religion, they meet with the culture, they start to develop different angles, different way. But you know, any religion should take must take the people to the level of love. If they don't do that, something is missing. So we can enter, maybe there is no time, we can enter in a lot of more deep, philosophical analysis by that, no? Because even Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his Krishna Samhita is explaining this point. No? So the people, they are too much concentrate on the rituals, they are too much concentrate on the philosophy, too much concentrate on the different, and they miss the point. That was happened. So when they do interfaith dialogue, they want to put everyone together. But there is only one way to put the people together, to bring them to the level of love. So it's not become more different, it's become a variety. But who is working that? So I have my rituals, I go in another place, they don't like my rituals, they have other rituals, and everyone thinks that their ritual is better. But the rituals is the way that you show love for God. Even the pujari, you know that Prabhupada sometimes was not quite soft with some pujari, because when he saw that it was driving to the level of rituality, it was really heavy. No? You remember that even he said that if you are in a temple, the temple is empty, some guests come in, you know, you're doing offering puja, just stop a moment, just welcome them, and after say, hey, 5 minutes, maybe here don't happen because you have so many people, but in many temples in the world during the day are quite empty, and just before I came into India, one pujari told me in our temple, I was in the temple in the midday, nobody was there, I was offering puja, a couple entered, I remember Prabhupada, so I offered the lamp, I just called them, just gave one word, she didn't spend time with that, say, wait 5 minutes, we finish the ceremony, they come to you. So the people, after they tell you, very happy because we feel very welcome. No? So Prabhupada was in that mood. So when the people, they're completely focused on the rituals, they start to make difference. No? And that's the root of the tension and quarrel and fighting in between the religion. Because this is from the Kanishta level. The Kalista level they can understand only there is within, around him. All the rest they cannot understand. They are not able to catch the essence of what they are doing. So this is the key. So they want to have an interfaith dialogue, whatever it is, but if they don't move to another level, it's not possible. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, 150 years ago, when nobody was doing interfaith dialogue, he was speaking about interfaith dialogue. He was saying that the only way to do interfaith dialogue is to practice deeply your tradition. That's an interesting point. Because if you practice deeply your tradition, what you find inside? Love for God. Even if you arrive from one level, another for another level, when you are situated on the love for God, when you meet the other, you can share this love for God. And also in Jaiva Dharma of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, you find some part that was dealing with the Sufi, the way they were dealing. Because people, they are serious in their practice, they can reach the essence of the religion. And after they can share with the others. That's very, very important point that we have to consider. From that way, we can learn and we can understand the pastime of the Lord. Because you approach this pastime not from a, power point of view, from a psychological point of view, philosophical point of view, by the platform of the love. So that's very important. So we are going to continue in all this part of the Bhagavad to discuss about the pastime of Kṛṣṇa. But please consider this part. It's very important. And I want to conclude. We say another story that happened to me regarding even the power that the devotee they have. They are really practicing Krishna consciousness, and they are focused on Srila Prabhupada and Lord Chaitanya told to us. They become so powerful. No, we cannot imagine. There is one man that is a big, another big name. Maybe he's the leader nowadays of the main journal for religion. It's called Bitter Winter. Maybe someone of you know this. He's speaking about all the problem, religion all over the world. It's become the most relevant newspaper. He's from my country, but he's well known internationally. And they have an encyclopedia. It's also in English, you can find. It's called Encyclopedia of Religion. And when you arrive to the level of Hinduism, they have different branch of Hinduism, and after they spoke about Vaishnavism. And when they spoke about Vaishnavism, they say the first, of course, is ISKCON, because it's the bigger. But in my country, we have altogether 6 math present, not only ISKCON, we have also other math. And when he was making all the description, Prabhupada, the founder of Acharya, this and that, and he said, there are not so many, but he wrote, don't be confused about that. Because one of them can make the difference in a big city. And because he involved me in the updating of all the encyclopedia, I was working close to him and say, why you wrote something like that? One Krishna devotee, one ISKCON devotee can make the difference everywhere. And he say, seems that you didn't wrote, the devotee wrote that. I say, no, I wrote because he say it's true. It's true. I'm not a person emotional or whatever it is. I'm just writing, a professor, I'm writing the truth. Because you see, starting from your Srila Prabhupada, one, he made a difference in the world. His disciple, they went in a different place. 1 or 2, they open a center, now they are relevant in a different society. And he say, okay, that's true, we know that, but it's interesting to see that also you realize that. Because he told me, seems that, it's not the person, but it's the power that is given to the person that is able to do something like that. This man is not a devotee, is not practicing, is not doing nothing. All this is probably the food that he takes is not the most sacred that we can consider. But they have this kind of understanding. So it's not that we are doing because we are powerful, we are doing that. We are doing this because we come connected to the Lord, we come connected to the Lord Chaitanya, and we can do whatever we want. Not because we are the best, because He is the best. We just puppet, no? And the best thing that we can do is just like to understand when Srila Prabhupada was traveling from India to America, in this famous song, he was not asking to Kṛṣṇa, let me be successful, let me empower me, whatever it is. What he wrote to Prabhupada, let me your puppet. Do what you want, and after just play with me. And don't let me oppose what is your plan. So that's, if you really connected to Srila Prabhupada and to Kṛṣṇa in this way, there is no limits to what the devotee they were doing. So it is not just a motto that we are to push ourselves because we are the best, we can conquer the world. Because with Kṛṣṇa there is no limit. Why? Because we are in love for Kṛṣṇa and we want to expand the love for any other living entities. Hare Krishna. I don't know, maybe we have a few minutes. Someone else. Please.
Thank you for the excellent class. I was reflecting on some of the last points you were making, and it conversely, just in line with what you were saying, if we start thinking that we're the doer, and somehow or other we think that we're the ones that are doing this, and that it isn't coming from Kṛṣṇa, isn't coming from Srila Prabhupada, we're not merely an instrument, that's when the trouble begins. Yeah. And we've had those episodes in our society, and they've been trouble, but they're also kind of like teachable moments where we can all take lesson from that to continue to try to be as very humble in our service as possible, because otherwise the price is chaos.
Yes, can be a problem. So I was just reading Prabhupada say that Guru is not someone who tells his opinion. He's just reporting what Kṛṣṇa said. Of course, we are to use our intelligence just to tune our speech in a way that the people can understand, to give what is appropriate to them. So, because our teaching is always the same. So it's not that the spiritualization is nowadays is different from 2,000 years ago. It is always from Shraddha to Prema. It's always the same. But the way that you have to approach that, now we have to build a guest house to let the people they come and just to listen to the Bhagavatam class. Maybe 500 years ago was enough just to go under the tree. So you have to tune, use your intelligence, no? But finally bring the people to the same level. And we have to just be tuned and not interpretate. We can make easy for the people to understand. Because all our teaching is written in sloka and shruti that is very condensate. So the devotee, Prabhupada said that every devotee has to become a guru. That doesn't mean that everyone has to give diksha or so, but every guru in his mood, in his behavior, and in his way to teach to the others. So the people they come to you, you have to unpack what is written in the book and let them to understand. That the way that the people they get the spiritual knowledge is by the hear. All the story. Nowadays, the message, 87 to 90% is passed through the visus. So that means the people nowadays they watch video, they watch this, they want that. If you are not tuned with that, you are not able to nothing to them. But of course, when they high the level, they go back in the situation that the main way to get the knowledge is by here. But nowadays people they are not ready. So that's our duty, just to try to create the condition that the people they can understand more. Prabhuji. Yeah.
Thank you for that nice class. Prabhuji, you mentioned about 26 Second Avenue when Srila Prabhupada wanted to form the society for spreading Kṛṣṇa consciousness. So the suggestions came that why don't we call it, from the lawyer and there was a couple others who were present, call it International Society for God Consciousness.
Yeah.
So Prabhupada immediately said, no, Kṛṣṇa is God, God is Kṛṣṇa. Therefore we will call it International Society for Kṛṣṇa Consciousness. Having understood that, can you share some thoughts on nowadays? We all have the tendency, or some have the tendency, to reinvent the wheel. That as it is, spirit is sometimes shown to be dwindling. It's getting a little weak in terms of methods of book distribution, where they catch people and say it's a book on yoga, and the first thing that they start thinking is the Ashtanga yoga kind of positions and stuff like that. When they open it, they see that this is not yoga. Of course it is bhakti-yoga, no doubt about that, but still, in my personal experience I've seen that some of them push it and then they just want to get rid of the person. They donate $10 and the next thing I've literally seen them throw that book into the garbage because people are too pushy. Also nowadays the Rath Yatra is not called Rath Yatra, in many places it's called Festival of India and stuff like that. I strongly believe that Prabhupada never used those tactics. Nowadays, even certain classes of devotees, they are even afraid to say Hare Krishna in public or greet. So, this Azure spirit which you mentioned, what is your opinion and your thoughts?
Prabhu, you raise a lot of topics that we really need a big discussion about that, because you talk about different angles. No? I can say that even when Srila Prabhupada came in the Western society, he was not going in a situation very favorable. He was going in the middle of the hippies, and the hippies, the motto of the hippies was sex, drug, and rock and roll. So completely opposite what he was doing. No, and he was preaching to them, according to them. He was not compromising the philosophy, but also in a way he went in a very difficult place. No? Sometimes the devotee they have a plan. They are going where the people is. No, and when the people is, of course, they try the best way just to insert Krishna consciousness in that. So we have to see if there is a part of a strategy, or because you want to hide your identity. I tell you, not always I am going in a dhoti and kurtan dress in our country when I meet some kind of people. Sometimes I dress more like a pandit. No, happen. No, but what I never hide is my identity. That's to me is very important. They know, because sometimes you are more effective in other way. No. But you don't have to hide your identity. That's very important. I was talking the other day with very famous devotee, this Sonaka Rishi Prabhu, is one of the principal of the Hindu study of Oxford in London. They say, Prabhu, you are Sonaka, but which is your civil name? It's not Sonaka, because this is given name, no, this is an initiated name. He said, no, but everyone know me as Sonaka. He used Sonaka, that's fine. That's fine. So he's Professor Sonaka. No? In a way, he's not going in dhoti, but he's not hiding his identity. So, and the people, they become curious. And why Srila Prabhupada don't want to put God? Because if you put international society, if you put caches, probably will disappear nowadays. Krishna consciousness. Just because the time is over, no, but I just want to tell more than one person. But I remember one person is coming in our temple, that every time that he came, he said, I am atheist. I say, okay, no problem. So I don't like any kind of religion, kind of like. So I say, what you like here? He say, I like your food, of course. I like your singing. You like God? No. You like Krishna? Yes. That's fantastic. You can remain atheist. Take prasada, attend the kirtan, and think about Krishna. That's fantastic. Because some people, and Krishna, in my opinion, Prabhupada, he did very right just to keep Krishna in the center. But of course, I just answer it very, very briefly, because your topic that you raise is very important. And of course, to time, place, and circumstance, we have to use our intelligence to expand Krishna consciousness. And some devotees, they are doing well. They are doing very good. And you mentioned the yoga world. The yoga world nowadays, most of the people are in the yoga. So what you are doing with the yoga people? We are there or we are not there? There is some yoga class with hundreds of people that they are chanting the mantra. They are singing. This is part of their practice. You can discuss, is good, is not correct, is yoga, is not yoga. It's not yoga. Yoga, if you all this practice, all this asana, where you find in the scripture? There is only one asana. This one, meditating, that's it. But people, they are doing like that. If they are doing the chanting Hare Krishna without offenses, can be an option. I don't say that everyone has to follow. We have to be conscious that the real yoga is one. You move from one level to the other up to the bhakti-yoga. But sometimes you need to create a different step. No? Anyway, I don't know, still have time or we have to close?
1 second. I just, you said so many people, it is amazing how it is deal with the Krishna consciousness, we don't know. But we have to understand practically everybody is Vishnu in this universe. We are Vaishnava. everybody is Vaishnava because we are down the Vishnu shelter. But the people doesn't know. But inside, because it's Vaishnava, the topic is there. But by chance he can develop.
We can add them. But
and by suffering he can run away from that place.
Also we have to, sometimes it's something that is out of our consideration, because Kṛṣṇa is putting the seed, or Chaitanya is putting the seed, that something is moving around. I finish with my last something that happened to me again. So there is one traveling festival, not organized by devotee, but it's called the Eastern festivals, something like that, no? That we are invited. But in the beginnings, I talking about like 8 or 9 years ago, when they have this first edition, they was inviting me to go there and to have some agreement, because I'm president of the temple in this area. So when I was there, he was preparing the festival. It was 3 big photo outside. One was Krishnamurti, the other one was Yogananda, and the third one was Prabhupada. No? I was dressed not like that normally. Nobody know me. So I went to speak with the boss, the organizer. We didn't know each other's. And before starting to introduce myself, I say, in the entrance there were 3 big pictures. Say, one of Yogananda, I know him. The second one is Krishnamurti, I know him. The third one, I don't know who is. And this man was smiling. He became very serious. Looked me in the eyes. You don't know what is Srila Prabhupada? He say, no, who is? He's a saint. He's the real person who did something relevant for the yoga and for whatever it is. I say, okay, I know him. And we start to laugh and become friends. And now this man, we have a few Italian devotees here. They can testify that during this festival, they are asking us to have constantly Harinam. So the people they are working, we have Harinam all the time. We go on the stage, during all the month of Kartik, we were offering the lamp. And all the visitors, thousands of visitors, they was coming and offered the lamp. So maybe they are not really understanding what is Kṛṣṇa called, but they become to appreciate it more and more and more. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.